it's really critical for us to work with key partners in the organization to identify the different needs of our employee segments and make sure that we're designing learning content, resources, initiatives in general that support those needs and take their considerations into perspective. So, we work really closely with leaders across the organization, our various areas of HR, our HR partners, and we also pull in our employee resource groups. Our ERGs have such a great pulse on the needs of our broader employee base. So we work very closely with them as strategic partners to help us shape strategies, help us shape resources, and then work together to make sure we get it in the hands of our employees in the right way. Or also enable them to be part of that education. And so that is actually one area where we have found it to be really effective to deliver information and content in a way that makes meaning to the broader employee base. We get it in the hands of our leaders. So for example, within our manufacturing organization, we'll work really closely with our factory operations managers and give them the resources that they need to be able to hold just-in-time kind of conversations and dialogue around inclusion and belonging. And so, for example, a lot of our factory teams will have daily stand-up meetings, and we've used the Aperian conversation starters that are part of the inclusive toolkit that come with just one question, one comment that a leader can pose out to their team and solicit some response amongst team members to get to know each other a little bit better, understand our different experiences and backgrounds and strengths so we can celebrate those differences and enable one another to really find opportunities to tap into those different experiences and perspectives in a meaningful and valuable way. And also, we find that in those conversations, we often have more in common than what people realize. And so it's also a way to bring people together from a connection and belonging perspective. So we try to do, things like that where leaders can spark conversations in the meetings that they're already planning to have. Or we'll hold train-the-trainer sessions with our HR partners who have that firsthand insight into their customer base and being able to, modify the content or information in a way that will make sense for their client groups and for their teams. So, we have a couple different methodologies that seem to work really well in helping to distribute content information in meaningful ways. But I think the key always is to really ensure you're meeting the need of those populations. And so an example that comes to mind, a couple of years ago, we had one of our manufacturing sites come to us and ask for some content to really support a speak up culture. And they were really trying to minimize the microaggressions that were occurring. And so we partnered closely with our employee relations and labor relations team, as well as legal. And we decided to kind of flip the script on our typical harassment types of training and talk more about becoming an upstander. And so, we follow the thought process of how do we help all of our employees feel empowered to be active bystanders in the moment when things are happening. They know how to intervene and can really foster that speak up type of culture. And so we created some content that used some specific manufacturing types of examples. And we pulled the thread around associating psychological safety and physical safety. So physical and product safety, of course, is a huge component of our culture. And so our manufacturing team members are well-versed in multiple safety protocols to ensure that each and every day they're keeping themselves and their team members safe. We use some of those same examples to then also talk about psychological safety and creating an environment of trust and respect and protection for when individuals do speak up and intervene in moments of poor behavior being demonstrated. So we deliver the content in a way that made sense for that employee base. And it was a huge hit. And the next thing we know, we had other teams knocking at our door to deliver the same training for their teams. And so we find that, you know, if we work really closely with the right stakeholders, with the right team members, and are meeting the needs of our different employee segments, that you know, we tend to then get that pool for the information and content.